Hey folks, it's Matt once again, and welcome back to another review. And this is another film that I feel is a very underrated Jean-Claude Van Damme film. In fact, I think it's one of his most underrated, as well as another film I reviewed, The Order from 2001, and that's Universal Soldier: The Return. Prepare to become obsolete. Now, this is a film that only has Jean-Claude Van Damme, but also has Michael Jai White, has Bill Goldberg, who was at WCW at the time, has Xander Berkeley, who's been in quite a few films, directed by Mic Rodgers. And Universal Soldier: The Return nowadays is very much shit on, crapped on, pissed on as one of Van Damme's worst movies. I think it's a 4.0 on IMDb, which I feel is way too fucking low. I don't think the film is that fucking bad. I've never thought the film was that fucking bad. I would say this is one of his most underrated films, as well as, like I said, The Order from 2001. Because it's one of the last times we got to see Jean-Claude Van Damme old school, old-fashioned Van Damme. Van Damme of the olden days. Because after this, which bombed badly, I believe it cost, I don't know how much it cost, it'll be on Wikipedia. Which I will admit, it says 45 million. I don't see that with this movie. I don't see that budget with this movie, so that's one thing I can say. I don't see that budget with this movie. I don't see it costing that much. But, you know, it didn't matter how much it cost because it only made $10 million. So even if it cost $20 million, it only made $10 million. It bombed. No matter how much it cost, it bombed. It bombed badly. I would say this is probably one of Van Damme's biggest bombs. And it's what killed his theatrical career, because this was the last film he did that went into theaters, unless you count Expendables 2, because he went straight to video with The Order, Replicant, In Hell, The Universal Soldier, straight to video films. Well, there previously were, after Universal Soldier 1992, there were two made-for-TV films, I believe HBO, which I'm not reviewing them, they had nothing to do with Van Damme. And I think Burt Reynolds was in one of them, or both of them. And I want to say, was it Jeff Wincott or someone else? I remember seeing those before being absolutely fucking horrible. Those are awful Universal Soldier movies. And I'll take this over Regeneration and Day of Reckoning. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people, this, like I said, got so much shit. 4.0, called one of Van Damme's worst films. Pretty much everyone I know, except a handful of people, hate the film. I'm one of the few who likes it a lot. I know my friend Effrey likes it a lot. My friend Mike, OCP, didn't mind the film. Which I guess we're the only three. 3 people on there, we're the only 3. It makes sense. 3 crazy guys. Because Regeneration and Day of Reckoning, I like the first Universal Soldier. I don't need to see a guy, a character I like, turn back into a fucking zombie and be a tiny supporting character in Universal Soldier, and then even be less of a supporting role in Day of Reckoning, where he becomes a bad guy and rips off Apocalypse Now with the fucking makeup. Might as well call him Kurtz. I'll get to those fucking movies later. There's some good gore, there's some good action, but there's good action in this as well. Plenty of action, fisticuffs, gunplay, explosions. It's a fast-paced movie. It's not long at all. It's an hour and 22 minutes with the end credits. Without it, less than an hour and 20 minutes. This film is not that long at all. Fuck, it ends with a Megadeth song. How can a movie be that bad when it ends and the song at the end is from Megadeth? Crush 'em, crush 'em. Which I believe was Bill Goldberg's interest in WCW for a little while. And I believe there's a music video which also has Van Damme in it. Now it says on trivia that Goldberg's character, they wanted Stone Cold Steve Austin first. I don't know how true that is. If that's the case, that would have been really awesome to see, but I don't know how truthful that is. But I mean, you have songs from Anthrax, has a really good soundtrack. Van Damme, like I said, it's one of the last times that we got to see old school Van Damme with his martial arts and kicks, helicopter kick. But also his personality. He has energy in this film. He's very much alive in this film. Because after this, like this in the order is the last time we got to see that Van Damme. Because after that, he was either playing very deranged or dark or depressed or violent or sad characters, replicant, in hell, so on and so forth. Or he was the Dead Eyes, zombie, regeneration, which was part of the plot, or Assassination Games, which was fucking awful. But that gets a 6.2. Assassination Games, a movie which I'm going to rant, I'm going to talk about all those movies sometime after the 25th of this month. But Assassination Games gets a 6.2 and gets praise when there's no action. And the fucking whole movie is filmed as if it was in piss yellow, as someone took their dick out and pissed on the screen, because it's yellow everywhere. And Van Damme is a zombie. He has no emotion. He can't frown. He can't smile. He just... But this one, he's smiling, he's laughing, he's playing a father, because his character has a daughter in this. There's some good, funny bits of humor, but when he gets angry, he gets angry. He shows it. Will yell if he has to. He acts like a human being. I could tell he had fun making this movie. He had a ball making this film, like he did in The Order after this. And it was nice to see Van Damme is having fun. Because for the next 10 years, he's not going to have fun. And believe me, there's a lot of those I like. I like Replicant. I like In Hell. I like Way to Death. I like Until Death. I liked The Shepherd Border Patrol. 6 Bullets I didn't mind. But when you see that for about 10 years straight, at least, almost 15 years to be honest, because 2001 The Order was the last time. So yeah, almost 15 years. Like, come on, Van Damme. Take a break and do a film like this again. But no, of course he won't do it, because when he did it, people shit on it. This and The Order, the last 2 times he acted like a human being, people took a big pile of shit on it, and then took another shit on it, and rubbed it in Van Damme's face and says, fuck you. So then when he does serious movies, then he gets some praise. And believe me, some of them do deserve praise. But that doesn't mean I want to see it from now to eternity. From now until the day he dies. And that doesn't mean this needs to be shit on that much. I know I've taken 6 minutes. I haven't talked about the film in depth. But I'm just sort of... I don't understand what's so fucking horrible about the film. Michael Jai White does a good job as the bad guy, Seth. They don't like Bill Goldberg's humor? I thought the humor wasn't that big of a deal. It had a little bit of sense of humor on itself. And I know the sequels, they say this doesn't exist. Which, in my opinion, those fucking movies don't exist. Is Universal Soldier in this film, The Return. And it starts out with a bang. It starts out with this training sequence. Well, you don't know it yet, but it's in the swamp area, and there's jet ski chase sequence through the rivers, and good stunt work. And Mic Rodgers had a hand in that, who directed this, because he had a certain experience in that field. For example, you have a scene where Van Damme and this other girl he's with, Maggie is the character's name, they're on there, and a boat's coming, one of those boats with the big fan behind it, and they have to jump, and as they jump, the thing hits their jet ski and blows it up, and they get right onto the boat to attach some of these soldiers that are chasing them. Good stunt work. Van Damme kicks some ass. Chase sequence. They go into the swamp. The Maggie character gets caught by Bill Goldberg, who ties her up and opens her shirt. show her chest. And Van Damme fights a little bit with him. As she shoots him and Goldberg flies off. Other Unisouls get there, they're drowning him. And you realize, after they stop, that it's part of a training exercise. And you hear Michael Jai White's voice, and he's Seth, this artificial intelligence computer. And I like the bit when Van Damme's looking at her tied up, and is looking at her chest. And then she's trying to talk to him, like, oh yeah, okay. See, that's what I miss. That kind of human being Van Damme. And goes back and you find out that the Unisoul project has been started, but everyone knows about it. The military, the government knows about it. It's not just this absolute secret thing that no one knows about. And I got why Van Damme was being a part of it, because he didn't create the thing. They were going to do it anyway. He's there because without this program, he'd still be dead in Vietnam. But with this, he got a wife who, by this point, has passed away, and that's pretty much because the actress in the first film didn't want to come back. I'm sure that's why. But he got a daughter out of it. So he got a daughter out of the deal. This doctor, I think it's Xander Berkeley's character, helped him out. He got him back to normal. So that's why Van Damme has normal strength and such. He reversed the process so he can live a normal life. And he even says a line later on when the general wants to shut it down. He says something to the effect of, I'm trying to think what was the exact line, where, yeah, it'd be a shame to stop sending young Americans to die on the battlefield, huh? Because he doesn't want people to go over a battlefield and die in a war like he did. So I can understand thinking. It was like, well, the idea is sound, it's just the way they did it is wrong. And it's one of those things that I could understand what was going on, what was happening, why Van Damme was doing this, and there's some nice levity throughout the film as well. One goes crazy while they're injecting him with stuff, throws this guy through a window. Van Damme's fighting him a bit. Does the thing where he hits on the ears, hits where the implant's at, to help take him down. And Xander Berkeley asks, where does it hurt? And he's like, all over. And Van Damme then goes, you see? And I still take them down if I go at them one at a time. And like I said, the general comes in, says, fuck it, you're going to stop this program. Seth pretty much figures this out, that they're doing that. Figures, oh my god, I'm going to get killed. Fuck that. I'm not going to die. Seth doesn't like that. You get a little bit between Van Damme and his daughter. I thought the girl who plays his daughter was fine. I like you get a little bit of emotion from Van Damme. Looks at his wedding photo. When he goes to sleep, he holds it. Pretty much the next day, there's also a female reporter there and her cameraman, and all of a sudden this lockdown happens. And I like the bit where Seth says, blah, 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 but, and then this hand pops up on the screen and goes, fuck you. That made me chuckle. Is that why people don't like it? Because there's a bit of humor to it. There's a sense of humor to it. I thought it made the movie fun, entertaining. Don't take it too seriously. It's a popcorn movie. So I enjoyed that. They try to shut the power down. Xander Berkeley's character gets killed. Throughout everyone trying to get out, the daughter gets hurt. And that Maddie girl takes her to the hospital. You get the idea Seth, the AI, is talking with this hacker named Squid, because the guy used to work with that company, and something to the effect of he has a body for Seth, which is where we get Michael Jai White. Brain gets put into Seth and becomes Michael Jai White's character. But I think Michael Jai White was fine. Great martial artist, done a lot of good stuff. Blood and Bone, I really enjoy. I reviewed that film. Undisputed 2. Falcon Rising. That was the other one he starred in. Which was alright, but I like this film more than that. But again, this film goes at a very quick pace, so people who say this film is boring, I don't understand that. I mean, you see all these Unisouls taking out all these guards, did some practical squibs. Him and the reporter, female reporter, hide in this chemical storage, and they get fired at by a Goldberg. And by this point, all the Unisouls come out, and the military's outside. They did a cool song playing where they shoot everyone, and they're shooting everyone. There's explosions. Na 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 na. That's the song playing. Just soldiers flying left and right, explosions everywhere. Even the reporters that are outside get fucking blown up. Which I remember the first time I saw this, I didn't see that coming. But oh shit, even the reporters got fucked up. And then back inside, he's fighting Goldberg. He tries to kick Goldberg. Van Damme says, oh shit. And fights Goldberg. Goldberg has him. And he's like, give me the gun, give me the gun. And the reporter shoots something that burns Goldberg. I like the line of Van Damme comes up and says, I meant, do it to me. And they have to escape to the rooftop. They jump in this truck. Goldberg is coming after him. Van Damme moves the truck. And I like when, I guess this is a reason why people don't like his humor. When Goldberg falls, he goes, oh shit. That made me chuckle that quick. He thinks he's going to hit the truck, and Goldberg goes, oh shit, and misses the truck. And then Van Damme backs up and flattens his ass. And that's sort of the running thing with Goldberg, is that no matter what, he keeps coming like the Terminator. He just doesn't stop. Which I thought was fun. If that's going to be a running gag, I'm fine with that. Gets to the military outside. Pretty much they have to come up with a plan to try to shut the power down, try to do this and that. Van Damme gets a group of guys, group of military guys. One of them is a sergeant, and I recognize the actor. It's an actor named James Black. I know my friend Effrey mentioned a TV show called, I think, The Burning Zone, Hot Zone or Burning Zone or something like that. He's on it. I didn't see the TV show. But I do remember him from these really low-budget films from J.R. Bookwalter, like Ozone, which he starred in. And it's a bad one, but it's a very funny one called Galaxy of the Dinosaurs. But I remember him working in that, and he was also in the Kurt Russell film Soldier. And I like James Black. I actually kind of wish he was in the film more. But, you know, it is what it is. And that's where Van Damme says the line, you know, we just gotta blow them up and hope the pieces don't keep fighting us. And by this point, the brain of Seth has been put into Michael Jai White's body, and they just want to take over the world. Maybe is that another reason why people don't like it? Because it's such a B-movie idea. It is a B-movie. But B doesn't have to mean bad. B can mean badass as well. Yeah, if you want to say bad, I'm going to put ass at the end of it. It's badass. Good soundtrack, very fast pace, tons of little fisticuffs and gunplay and explosions, and don't need to be pontificating around. And I'm sorry it doesn't have in-depth character development when it's called Universal Soldier: The Return. You want that? Get that fucking regeneration with Dolph Lundgren pontificating about humanity. Do you dream? Yeah, I dream of better movies like this when I'm watching your piece of shit. Which I'll get to that. Fuck that movie. The only good thing about that movie is one little action scene with Van Damme running, shooting like it's Call of Duty, and then using a knife. But it's a shitty story. I rather prefer this story. But anyway, sorry. But they're trying to blow this stuff up, and some soldiers come down and repel some Unisouls, and a firefight takes place. Van Damme gets a couple of them using... It's a machine gun, but it also has a grenade launcher. Pretty much just using grenade launcher, fucking up a couple Unisouls. He shoots one with a machine gun who moves and blows up one of the bombs. You get quite a few damn explosions in this movie, I will say that. Explosive is definitely one adjective you could give this movie. Explosive entertainment. explosive action, how they say that in certain reviews and descriptions. That applies to this. But Van Damme comes back out because, of course, the plan failed, and he's got to find a computer to figure out a little bit more of what's going on, how it happened, and on the way, I like the bit, again, shows a bit of his humanity, gives a little bit of backstory, that again, his wife died, and about how this doctor had turned him more into a normal person to live a normal life. And she's changing the back, and I like that he goes, yeah, I'm completely. And she's like, eyes front, soldier. So I like some of the bit of humor in this. Maybe because watching this after, again, almost 15 fucking years of Van Damme being sad and depressed, seeing him smile puts a smile on my face. I don't always like to see you sad and ready to cry, Van Damme. Sometimes I like to see you having fun, some energy as well, which is nice to see in this movie. And I like the fact that the closest place you can find is a stripper club. Stripper place. So you get titties. That's a nice way to work titties into it. And he goes in. And I like some of the bits of fun that Van Damme's... you can tell Van Damme is having so much fun in this movie. There's a guy trying to get past. He's like holding himself. He's like, men's room? Oh yeah, over there? Okay. Yeah, just headbutts the guy, goes in, types in the computer, finds out that Seth's been talking to this squid character, this hacker type of guy. But before he leaves, some like 3 guards come up to him. Van Damme's going, hey, I'm leaving. No violence, eh? And of course they want violence, and Van Damme kicks their ass. He gets some good kicks, pretty much punches the shit out of them, which starts a whole fight in the stripper place. Strippers are fighting people left and right, and Van Damme's punching the shit out of them. Ta 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 ta. I like that when he comes out and a guy arrives on a motorcycle, and he pretends to be the valet, and he tells the guy, "Oh, you're missing one hell of a fight." And the guy's like, "Cool, thanks." And Van Damme goes, "No problem," and then throws away and steals the motorcycle. And that's where you go see. Yeah, the actor who plays this squid guy is terrible. He's overacting. The way he's given his dialogue is very, very laughable, and not even in a good way. It's just a bit annoying to me. But thankfully, he's a minor character. But still, I thought it was pretty poorly acted. But pretty much he's spilling the beans, and Seth comes in and snaps the guy's neck. And that's where Van Damme first meets the physical form of Seth, Michael Jai White. And Van Damme finds out that his daughter's at the hospital, and the whole thing is he can't really kill Van Damme. Some code that if he puts it in, supposedly after so many hours, Seth will be turned off, and he needs a code for his brain to put in so that he doesn't get shut down, sort of a fail-safe in case anything happens. And Van Damme won't give it to him, and you get the idea Michael Jai White's going to get his daughters to try to get the code from him. Van Damme gets mad, tries to fight, gets his ass kicked, realizes they gotta get out of there, because another explosion. I wasn't kidding, there's a shitload of explosions in this movie. He gets to the hospital, and again, really quick, quite a few fights. Fights 2 or so guys, get some really nice kicks in there, old school Van Damme kicks that you would see in Death Warrant or Double Impact. Kicks, since they were by a laundromat, remind me of the scene in Death Warrant. Kicks a guy into one of the laundromats. Again, some really nice kicks in there. Another guy he's fighting gets some shot paddles, shots the guy right in the head and kills his ass. And then Goldberg's there. He's fighting like 2 or 3 guards. You know, he kicks one in the face, he even spears one, does his move from WCW, spears one guy. By this point, Michael Jai White's taking his daughter and realizes he's taking her back to the facility. And then Goldberg's trying to get Van Damme an elevator, and Van Damme does one of those splits on the elevator that because Goldberg tries to spear him and goes through his legs. And Van Damme kicks him in the face, stops him in the elevator. You know, gets back. Get a badass fight between Van Damme and Michael Jai White. I love this fight. I would personally say this is one of my favorite fights that Van Damme has had in a movie. Like, fuck the fight in Expendables 2. That fight wasn't anything. This is a damn good fight. But that gets the praise and this gets an ass beating? Bullshit. Van Damme did 3 things in that fight. A helicopter kick, a headbutt, and maybe he got a punch in there, or at least the choking in the chains. This is a much better fight. When people say, what about fight? How about this fight between him and Michael Jai White? Because Michael Jai White's character is stronger, he's throwing Van Damme through glass after glass. Van Damme shooting Seth with a gun. He's trying to start this program with his daughter. They're trying to heal his daughter. There's some good punches back and forth. Michael Jai White talks about, he gets the code finally. He's able to figure out himself. Says, I don't need you. I'll take care of your daughter for you. Van Damme gets pissed. Start trying to kick Van Damme. Does a helicopter kick on his ass. Kicking Seth through glass. Some nice back and forth. Punches, kicks. Even to a point where Van Damme's throwing chairs and Seth's just kicking him out of the way. Van Damme does a kick, grabs a gun, about ready to shoot him, and then Seth kicks it up, and Van Damme tries to jump to it, and Van Damme, while he's jumping, Michael Jai White kicks him and throws him, and he's able to just kick the gun away. Like, Michael Jai White was very nice and doing this very stiff, on purpose, smooth moves, like, whew, really straight kicks and really straight punches. And he did even more where they're doing more back and forth. Seth grabs Van Damme, and I don't think Van Damme can do this, but it looks really cool, and they did a good job with if there are body doubles. Yeah, you see one or two, like later on when Goldberg has Van Damme hold him like this, ready to throw him. But for the most part, they do, especially in this fight, and just really cool looking move where Luc Deveraux does sort of a backflip kick right into Michael Jai White's face. And then Van Damme running off the wall, little twirl kicking Michael Jai White in the face again. Just a really great fight. And Van Damme gets a gun, shooting them back and forth, and Michael Jai White goes, that doesn't work on me. You tried that already. And Van Damme goes, you're right. And shoots the panel next to it and freezes Michael Jai White's ass. I will say this effect isn't that great. The effect was done better in, say, Demolition Man. But he freezes, and what I mean by that is when he freezes Michael Jai White, he does this great kick, shatters it. But even though it's a poor effect, I kind of liked it. Only because it reminded me of something from an anime. Maybe just some parts of the fight for some reason remind me of anime. I don't know why. So when he kicked it, you just see this explosion of light. And even though it's a poor effect, it kind of reminded me of a anime thing. I don't know what it is. Just one of those weird things that popped in my head. So even though it's a poor effect, I didn't mind it. Maybe because I was just having so much fun with the fight and with the movie itself. And then gets his daughter, and then gets in another fight. Gets in a fight with Goldberg. Again, he gets some good stuff, back and forth punches. And then Goldberg's ready to throw Van Damme, and Maggie's there. By this time, she's been killed and turned into Unisoul. But because Seth, his dad, doesn't control her, she shoots Goldberg. And I will admit, other than One of the things I could say for negative, there are some plot holes that doesn't make sense. For example, Maddie says, it's too late for me, get out. And I'm thinking, well, why is it too late for you if they were able to... Maybe because there are no doctors around that can do this. Maybe that's why. Maybe Xander Berkeley was the last doctor who could do this. But if they reformed Van Damme, maybe they could reform her. But hey, I can just use a few plot holes if I'm having this much fun. I will admit that. But he gets out of there. His daughter is safely out. Goldberg gets some others. They're ready to head out. The military had put explosive, but you find out that S.E.T.H beforehand had fucked their explosives up so it doesn't detonate. But Van Damme gets a gun, shoots this one explosive, which blows up the entire fucking building. Massive explosion. Humongous explosion. And the movie ends when it needs to. The daughter and the reporter hug him, and some nice sweet music. And then the end credits roll with Megadeth. Crush him, crush him. How is the film so bad when it's got a soundtrack from Megadeth and Anthrax and other bands of that nature? And I know this is a pretty long review, but if you wonder why I keep looking like this, or to the side, not to the cameras, this is where the screen is. I just want to make sure this is centered. I should have put it here, but I didn't think of it. And I don't want to redo the review since it's 30 minutes. But I enjoy this film. Yeah, I will admit, I don't really... It says there's a budget of 40-some million. I don't see that in the movie. 2, there are some little plot holes, I will admit. I know some people say little. To me, yeah. The other stuff didn't bother me. And 3, some little tiny things. Like I said, when he kissed the frozen Michael Jai White, not the best effect, but at the same time I kind of liked it. Reminds me of anime. The guy who played the hacker Squid, he was a bit annoying. Not a bit, he was annoying. But other than that, I thought this was fun, entertaining, fast-paced, tons of fisticuffs, some old school action from Van Damme, kicks, helicopter kick, punches, rapid punches, jump kicks. He does that kick where he goes, someone's going towards him and he reverses behind him, and when he kicks, he hits the guy in the back of the head. When he's fighting the guy in the hospital by the laundromat part of the hospital. Then he does a nice sharp jump kick until it looks like his stomach. He does a nice, I don't know what you call it, where he's here and he goes and his leg pops back and out. That kind of jump kick against Goldberg. So he did some nice fighting choreography from Van Damme. Michael Jai White, I have no problem with him as the bad guy at all. Goldberg, I think, was fun. Great soundtrack. And it pretty much took all the fat away from an action movie. Take an action movie that if you put some bloated stuff, yeah, you could have, and it would have been an hour and 40 minutes. But it's like, okay, let's just suck all the fat out of it and make just a really straightforward, straight-laced action movie about action, stunts, explosions, and firepower. And I'm fine with that, because it's an action movie where I have a guy who I like, Jean-Claude Van Damme, acts like a human being, has a smile on his face, has some energy to him, does some good fight sequences. You have a bad guys who I think are nothing wrong with the bad guys in this. Some great rock songs, firepower, practical explosions, great fight at the end that doesn't disappoint, unlike Expendables 2. This is a much better action movie than Expendables 2. I'm sorry. Expendables 2, it has the cast. This, though, much faster paced, much more entertaining, much more satisfying end fight. That's my opinion. No one has to agree with me. It's my opinion. I'd rather watch this. Also because it's very underrated. It's a lot of shit, and I don't think it deserves it. So I'm fine with doing a long-ass review for the film, because I think it needed some defending. That's just my opinion. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and stay tuned for more Van Damme movie reviews. Later.